What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the GX-88 Voltron from Bandai. This thing has been highly anticipated for over a year, and there are other masterpiece Voltrons out there. There was a Miracle Productions version. It wasn't quite at the level of this, but it was a pretty good placeholder. Now we got this. This is definitely the definitive version, but you got the nice foil gold writing there. You got a nice image product shot. This does have a slip cover on it, so we'll show you underneath. On the side, you just got, again, Voltron, and then the air team and the land team. On the back, you've got the millions of features that this thing has. So you've got the air team, the sea team, and the land team, which is really cool. You've got all the different weapons, tons of accessories. Because there's so many accessories and features, we're going to try to go pretty quickly through each vehicle so I can show you everything. Here is called GX-88 Dairugger 15. So different name in Japan and probably internationally. This is the Japanese version of the box. Again, Dairugger XV. All the same product image on the back, just everything is in Japanese instead of in English. So that's just interesting that they put a different product image on the front. You know, I wouldn't typically guess that they would make a different box, but there it is. So you also get a beautiful instruction manual here. I mean, it's thick. It's got a lot of color images. It's very detailed. I don't think you could make a manual any better than this. This is just really well done. There was an error in the manual, so they gave you this supplemental. It says the names of the vehicles are wrong. So if you look at this page right here, here's all the vehicles. And I'm probably not going to remember these names anyway, but they wrote Air Recon Helicopter. And the correct name is Advanced Recon Helicopter. Who cares? And then the Falcon VT Fighter is Falcon Jet Fighter. So, small change there. But that's really it for the packaging and the instruction manual. Let's get the figure out and take a look. Here we have the vehicles all out of their packaging, and they look amazing. These things are really nicely detailed. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So, what I'm going to do is review each figure one by one as a team. So you've got the sea team here, the air team, and the land team, and they all had kind of different functions in the show. I don't really remember the show that much, honestly. So we're going to take a look one by one. We're going to start 1 through 16. Sorry, 15. 1 through 15 of the vehicles, and we'll start with the air team and work our way up. And here we have the air team ready to go. We're going to start with the Command Jet Explorer. So obviously this becomes the head of Voltron, but it looks really good. You know, these obviously looks like a booster or jet. On the front, you've got the wings and some really nice, it looks like metallic blue paint behind a translucent piece of plastic, which is cool. The bottom, you've got this platform, which does have wheels inside. You can pull. I mean, this is just really intricate, but there are wheels here. They don't roll, which I don't care. That doesn't bother me, but you can set them down on the wheels, and it looks really good. So there is your Command Jet Explorer. And number 2 here is the Strato Weapons Module. So he's got little wings. It's hard to believe this flies. It kind of reminds me of a Jawa transporter from Star Wars. It does have treads, and they are rubber, but they don't appear to roll. It looks like these wheels are basically locked in place. So, I mean, it doesn't bother me. Honestly, I don't care. I'm not going to be sitting here rolling it around. But it does have the nice rubber treads. It does look really nice. Here's kind of a 360. You've got paint everywhere, literally everywhere. We've got the nice translucent blue. And that is the Command Jet Explorer. So next we've got the Advanced Recon Helicopter. Now, this is the one they got the name wrong in the manual. I'm guessing it is a translation error or whatever, but here it is. The rotor does spin. You do have changeable rotors, so you can use other ones. I'll just show you. You've got the double blade. The triple blade definitely looks best in my opinion, but these are easy to swap out. You can just pull right here. Don't pull here. These are plastic. They do feel a little bit fragile, but there you go. There's a double blade. Honestly, and you also have the small one. If you want, you could use a small one, but this is really meant for robot mode and also for combined vehicle mode. So you don't, I think this big one is actually the best looking one, and it's intended to have this one. So leave that big one on there. You do have landing gear, which blows my mind. They worked this in here, but here's landing gear. You just fold these out like that, and you can sit on his landing gear, and it looks pretty nice. It's a little bit unstable, but what do you want? This is a little tiny guy, but it should sit on there. Yeah, the problem is you've got the die cast, so it wants to lean to one side. I wonder if you push it in. There you go. So there is the Advanced Recon Helicopter, number 3, and here is number 4, and this is Advanced Recon Helicopter number 2. So this one's blue. I mean, this one looks really cool. I love the look of this. Same thing, you've got the landing gear down here, and everything has like a little ridge for you to pull on or to get things open, just to make things easier. I love that they thought that through, right? How are they going to get it out? They don't need a spudger. So here it is up close. It's got some windows here just to make it more realistic. It does spin. So there's that. And finally, we've got the what makes his chest, which is the Falcon Jet Fighter. And this thing looks awesome. By the way, all of these guys are die cast. They're pretty much covered in die cast. There's a ton of die cast on them. This one, the wings do fold in and out, but that's mainly for transformation for robot mode. You can look on the back there, you got some nice detail, paint, looks great. And then on the bottom, you can have this folded out. You do want to have this folded in for vehicle mode, but you've got little teeny tiny landing gear. So you can fold that out, just like the others. Here's his landing gear. Again, none of these roll, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. So there it is, and they all look great. So let's form the combined jet team. I don't know if it has a name. Maybe it does, but I don't know what it is. So first, we're going to take this guy, push this down, fold these wings in. For this guy, you can kind of leave it the way it is. And this is the release button. So you're better off pushing it in to attach things, just so it doesn't, it leaves the mechanism a little bit from having to do some work. You do have to change these out to the smaller ones because they won't fit onto this guy with the bigger ones. So take those off, attach the smaller things, close up the landing gears on all of these, and then the one that you want to put in, you want to push in the outside. That's how you know which side goes on which. Push that in. And same for this guy. Change out his helicopter blade, so you get the small one on there. Push this side in, and then attach this side. And you got one more here, so fold in the landing gear, open up this on the bottom, and there's 2 tabs. You want to put the back one in first. That's got that little ridge there, and you just gotta get it over. There you go. There is the air team ready to work together. I actually really like the way this looks together. If I was going to display these, I might display it like this. I don't know if I'd display the individual vehicles. Of all the teams, the air team probably looks the best in their individual vehicles. But as far as display, I feel, like me personally, I think I would probably display, and obviously it's going to be in robot mode most of the time. But there is your air team. And it looks great. Looks great all around. And next we have the C team, although there are space probers as part of the team, but this is supposedly the C team. And we're going to start with the communications module. Now all of these have, well, these two at least, have these very delicate chrome pieces. They're really thin. I definitely recommend being very careful with those. This does kind of fold away, but it just feels very, very delicate. I mean, it's got these tiny little things here, and I don't know, just be careful because it's not really, I mean, it's easy to break. One drop, those are definitely going to break. But I do appreciate the detail. So all around, you got paint. There's definitely die cast in here. You got chrome pieces. You got some translucent blue. I mean, it's got tons of detail. On the bottom, you do have treads, which is nice. These don't roll, and they're not rubber. These are plastic. But there is the communications module. Next up, we've got the space prober. So here's a space prober. It's pretty simple. It doesn't have a lot. It does have a little cockpit here, but there's nothing going on the bottom or anything. It does collapse for combined mode, but that's really not for vehicle mode. So pretty simple guy. Here's the next one. This is the Space Prober 2. And again, very simple. You got two little translucent blue pieces here. Every one of these vehicles is painted beautifully. So next you have the multi-wheeled Explorer. Now this one actually does roll. So it's got treads and wheels that rotate. They do rotate together, so there's an axle across here that is connecting those wheels. But again, beautifully done. They've got this very, very delicate piece here. You can remove this. Actually, you do remove it for combined mode. So I would caution you, not unless you're displaying this in vehicle mode, then don't put that on there. But this thing does pop up and then you stick it in, but it tends to go back down when you push on it. So it's kind of delicate. The whole thing is delicate. But I do love the fact that there's these wheels. I mean, it just reminds me of old school toys when I was a kid that looked like this, like an old transporter. So there is Multi-Wheeled Explorer. And here's Multi-Wheeled Explorer 2. Again, rolling treads, lots of nice die cast and paint, and you've got these delicate pieces up here. So be careful with those. But there is the C-Team. Let's get these guys combined. All right, so first off, we're going to expand these here, push those out. Yeah, and what's really cool is this is just a part to combine them, but it looks like it's got missiles in there. Just kind of neat. I love when they do little details like that. That's cool. So push those both out. You can leave these in there for now. Just be careful because they are delicate. It even says it in the book. It says delicate. Be careful. All right, next you're going to open up these panels here and kind of fold that all the way down and then rotate this back in. And then you're going to attach this to the front. No, you have to also open up this piece here. And that should rotate all the way to the back. And as you're inserting this, push down on this button. That will relieve a little bit of the pressure from the mechanism in there. And then you can let go once you got it in there. All right, there's that. Then same on this one. Open this up. Hold this in. That one's a lot more clicky. They're both ratcheted. It's just that one seemed. I did it again. Open this up. Press the button and push it in. It is very firm and very tight, so just be cautious. And then we're going to combine them together. And when you're combining them, they don't like lock together, so you kind of have to just push them. And there you have the C-Team. I really like the look of this combined vehicle. I don't know why, but I feel like this just looks really good. It does roll. It doesn't roll great, but it does roll. And it looks really cool. Like there's all these little antenna. Here's a close-up. So there is your C-Team. And finally, we have the land team. So again, we're going to go from top to bottom. So number 11 is their jet radar station. This does have a little feature here and it is extremely delicate, but there you go. I don't know. I guess it's a radar, but because it says it's a jet radar station. It does have treads. They're just plastic, not rubber. I don't know which way is forward. I guess they could both be forward, but there it is. That's very simple. It does have some translucent. It's got some paint here. I mean, lots of color breakups in all of these, but this one is just very simple. There's not a lot to see. I'm going to fold that back in so I don't break it. Next, you have the rotating personnel carrier. Now, these fists do come off for the... I forget to put these wheels down. They do come off for the combined mode, and you can change them out, but they still work as fists, which is really neat, and we'll show that in combined mode. So it's really simple. It does tend to be a little bit front heavy, so it falls down as you're kind of rolling it, but that's okay. Then you've got armored equipment carrier, slightly different. Again, we forgot to put the wheels down. Looks pretty good. It's got also still translucent blue on the top. Nice paint all around. Rubber tires, forgot to mention that. And they do roll, but they just tend to be front heavy. And then one of my favorite vehicles is the all-terrain space vehicle. It's got these nice big rubber tires. They do roll, but not very smoothly. So it's got that nice translucent with the metallic in the background. It looks really good. The die cast feels really nice. It's very nostalgic because of that die cast feel. The wheels do roll. They do push in for combined mode, which is nice. You have some tail lights here. You got chrome for the headlights. Looks really good. And then last but not least, you've got all-terrain space vehicle number 2. And this is my favorite of the entire set. It does remind me of a vehicle from the 80s, which is why I like it so much. And it's just cool. But again, it rolls pretty nicely. Works well. So there is your land team. Now, of course, these do combine. So let's take a look at that. First, you're going to fold up these little clips here, like so, and those are going to clip into the bottom of this guy. Again, this is the front, so you need these 2 holes here. So attach these on there, and then these are going to tab in to the front there. So the blue one goes over here. And you can just see there's a little tab right there. It's going to fit in the hole. And there you have the land team all combined. Again, I like this one too. If I was going to display this guy not in robot mode, which I don't know anybody's going to do that, but I would use this. And this looks really good. So there is your land team. Alright guys, we are ready to combine this guy. I did leave a couple of the pieces in their combined mode because you need to put it back together anyway, so there was no reason to take it apart. So the ones I didn't take apart completely are these 2, and this one here. So, but everything else is as it was basically when they were in their own vehicle modes. So let's start with the legs. Okay, so first make sure you fold these in here because you don't want those out, and you combine them. Next, you're going to take off these. They're delicate, so be careful. Set those aside. Push these in. And we want to open up this entire panel here. So and you don't need a spudger for anything. Everything will work with just a fingernail. Fold this panel in. Oops. Now fold this back, and then fold this down. It should tab right into the bottom there securely. Okay. And then you also want to push this in. So it should go all the way back. So now you've got the one leg already. Push this in as well because we don't need that. And that is going to slide into this part here. There is a mechanism to lock it. So I'll show you. It's really cool, the design here. So push that in all the way. Okay. Then collapse the wheels this way and then push the wheels up. and that's going to lock this in here, which is very ingenious. That's just really cool design that they thought of there. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. Close this up, pull this off, push this in, open up this panel here, fold out the leg joint, push this in, then fold out the leg joint, and then tab this in. You should hear it tab in nice and securely. Push this part in. Make sure you close this. Slide that into the vehicle all the way forward. Collapse the wheels. Push the wheels up. And then you have a leg ready. For the arms, you're going to fold these pieces up. Same here. And these are pretty simple, so. And then you can take this piece, which we had already combined before for the vehicle modes. But if you didn't remember to do that, you could just attach these in and push those in. Okay, but now we're going to slide these in here. Now, this definitely doesn't feel very good. It's a little bit scary. So take your time, but these fins are going to fit right in here. So you just kind of got to trust it. I don't know. It's a little bit scary because the fins are such thin plastic. But they also recommend you take these off. So while you're doing this, you're not breaking those things because those are very fragile. This is definitely not a kid's toy, but it's a toy. All right, so there you have the arms. Now we'll get the waist piece together. So open up these panels and push them in, and they should lock into place. Push it in, lock into place. Open these up. Those are the hip skirts. Straighten out these joints there. Close these back up. And if you had this open, make sure you closed it. And that's really it for that. Now you can combine those to the legs. So push these in the legs, and they just push in. They are pretty secure, but that's all the attaching is just push it in. Okay, so there you have the legs. Now we can do the next piece here. So you want to open this up, push that down. Oops. Open that up. Push that in so it sits flat here. And then make sure you fold this away. Be very careful and gentle. Fold up all these little pieces and then fold that in there. It doesn't feel good, but be careful with that. And then there is an ab crunch here. So if you want to get that out a little bit, you can. But for now, I'm just going to leave it in there. And that's going to go... let's see. I think that's going to go like this. Okay, so that just sets in right there. There is a release button here. So if you push that release, you can pull it off. So you want to make sure this is locked in there. Okay, so there's that. And finally, you can put the top piece on. So again, you've got to open up this panel here to allow that to fit. So just get fingernail in there, push that in. That locks in there. And now we can combine. Oops. And finally, the head, which popped off while I was doing this. Open up the panels here. And here's the reveal for the face, which looks really awesome. And for the final step here, you're going to attach this chest piece. Make sure you have the landing gear folded up and these tabs pulled out. You want to put this back tab in first since it's sticking out. So just be cautious. Also, make sure it's centered as you're putting it on. And then you're going to see these wings fold flat to his chest. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that. And then you can fold these wings outwards. And there you have the fully combined Voltron. And it looks amazing. All right, so let's go over articulation first. The head does have this kind of pop-up joint there. It goes side to side. I don't really understand why they don't have a front to back so we can look downwards. If you turn him to the side, he does look downwards. I forgot to mention there is an accessory here, but we'll go over that when we get to accessories. You can take off this back piece and have it nice and flat, which is probably how I'm going to do it. But I don't understand why they did this and why did they make the joint on the side. But anyway, you do get rotation all the way around and a movement side to side. For the arms, you get a butterfly joint that opens up like this. You can get the arm all the way up to there. It does rotate on a soft ratchet. You do have an elbow bend here. There's only 2 clicks, but then you have another click here. Now you can't get the arm all the way up. I feel like they should have done that. That's kind of not enough. He should be able to get his hand all the way up to his elbow, but that's what you get. There is a soft ratchet at the waist. You do have an ab crunch here on that part I showed you earlier. You can actually get that up, way up like this, and get him really over. You gotta be careful not to collide any parts, but he does have that. You do have let's get these arms out of the way. You do have hip skirts here that fold up, and you can get his leg all the way out to there. It is heavy, so it's not going to hold, but you're never going to pose him like that. You have a hip skirt in the front, and he does fold all the way up to there. It is all ratcheted. It's just the weight of this guy is so much that the ratchets don't really hold it, but it does have ratchets. You do have a rotation at the thigh. You have a 90-degree bend at the knee, single joint. This is not intended to move, but it does. I don't like that. I wish it didn't do that. But there's that. You have a extending ankle joint here. So you pull that down, and that gives you a little bit more room to do the ankle rocker and the ankle tilt. You've got both. So everything you need there. In fact, you probably just leave those extended because you're going to end up using those. Otherwise, the thing is probably running into itself. So there you have Vehicle Voltron and all of his articulation. He has quite a bit. Now, he is heavy, so you're going to have to pose him, but I feel like that's a good amount of articulation. So let's take a look at his hands and all the different kinds you get. So here's the open hand. I did forget to show you a little bit of articulation here. So this hand can kind of bend out this way, and it also extends. So you can pop it in, or you can have it kind of extended out, and you get much more movement that way. But there is the open hand. It looks good. I'm not really sure what the purpose is, but you get this for posing, I guess. Here he is with the spin cutter holding hand. So these are kind of open in the middle, kind of between the second and third knuckle. And it does have a peg inside. Let's see if I can show you that. There is a peg inside the hand right there. And what you can do with that is you can actually peg the spin cutter to that. And here he is with the closed fist. And that also looks pretty good. Basically just a normal fist. You can't put anything in there. It's really just if you wanted this for posing. It does also move around just like all the other hands. And there he is with the open hand to hold weapons. This is the one you're going to be using the most because it holds the sword. It holds the spear. It really holds everything. So that's the one that kind of makes the most sense for me anyways. And again, same articulation. And it looks good. I like that they put this silver and blue paint on there. That looks really nice. But that's really it for the hand accessories. Next, we're going to go into the accessories. Before we did that, I wanted to show you this stand. It really is just really nice. It's got the Voltron writing there. You can actually change that out for the Japanese writing for Dairugger 15. So if you prefer that, here's that. You can put this on there. Can't read it, so I'm not going to use this. But It's nice that you have that option, and then everything that he comes with fits on here. And I mean everything. Nothing is left out. Every piece and part and weapon is on here. So the first accessory is a kind of a replacement piece for the back of his head. So obviously the top of his head is, or his head in general is a jet. And so it's got this landing gear piece, and you can just pull this right off, and it's just this piece here. And you can replace it with just a panel that covers his head. And that's nice because if you want a more sleek head without all of that extra stuff sticking out of the back, then you can have that option. And that's nice and smooth. It looks really good. I will probably display it like this. In fact, I don't really need this. It's just nice that they give you this. Now, this also is supposed to be part of his weapon, but you don't need to use this one. They give you another one. So if you want the weapon, you can use this. So let's take a look at this next, since this is part of a weapon. First weapon we're going to talk about is the electromagnetic whip. This is the kind of the blade part, and you need this as the handle. So you basically stick this into here. This is what we had as an extra part. It also looks like what comes off the back of his head. And then there's this tab right here. It only fits into the blue open hand. The red open hand doesn't even have the tab to stick it in. I don't know why they chose to design it that way, but that's the way it's set up. And you just slide it in there, and there you go. He's slashing with his electromagnetic whip. Just to show you, here's the red open hand, and it does not have a tab slot there, so you can't put it into here. But there's the electromagnetic whip. There he is with the spin cutter. This is just called Spin Cutter B. He's got a couple different spin cutters, and they're all the same spin cutter. They're just different versions based on which frame or which cartoon episode you were looking at. But there's one. The second spin cutter. This is just a different version. It's got 3 blades instead of 2. And that one looks good. Personally, this is my favorite looking one out of all of them. With the chrome spin cutters. Now I'd imagine you probably want to take these smaller ones off, because if he's using the spin cutter, then how could it also be on his arm? But you could do both. You could have both on or take them off if you want. Then the nice thing is the arm still looks okay even without it. But there he is with the chrome spin cutter. These things are fingerprint magnets, so you might want to clean them if you put this one on. Completeness, there he is with the double-bladed spin cutter. And again, that looks pretty good. I think I changed my mind. I think I like these double-bladed ones, only because they are easier to put in the hand. So they're a little bit smaller. The plastic is a little bit thinner, so it's easy to get in there. I don't feel like I'm going to break it. One last accessory we haven't really looked at are these little blue pieces here. So people are probably, what the heck are these? Well, the Bandai makes these display stands. These are called Stage Act. This happens to be Stage Act 1. They're Stage Act 4. But these are adapters to allow you to use these stands and then attach these spin cutters. So you can kind of have them flying through the air from the vehicle Voltron. I don't know if I'll use these, but that's what it's for. Is his lance. This is the short lance, so there's another one that's long, but they say to take this apart and then stick it in from the bottom, but I find that it's easier to do it from the top, because you don't have to like jam it into his hand. And again, another fingerprint magnet, but it looks amazing. By the way, you do need the gripping hand for this one. You can't put this in any other hands. I guess you might be able to fit it here, but I don't think you want to. This is the hand to put it in. Again, looks very nice. Really, really well done. And here is his shot arrow. This has a metal posable string here. And again, they've put kind of a bulb at the end, so you can't insert it into the hand. And I actually gave it a little bit of force and it still didn't go. And I really don't feel like scratching up this hand. Honestly, it's not worth it to me because I'm never going to use this weapon. Perhaps you could put it in a different hand, maybe this one, because this one opens. I never actually showed this. So this is the hand that comes by default on the vehicle, and it does actually open up. So you can actually open this fingers here. which is kind of neat. I'm glad that they did that. But so if you open up those fingers, you might be able to get this in here. Let's see. Yeah, you can. So this might be the better hand for holding this thing and setting this up, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of this thing. I don't even remember this from the show. This was probably an episode. I just don't remember it. So there's the shot arrow. And last but not least is his sword. And this thing is beautiful. Obviously, I saved this for last because it's the best weapon in my opinion. It's really big. It's actually the same height, actually a little bit taller. Well, maybe a tiny bit taller than Voltron himself. So really big sword. You do need the open holding hands here. They fit in very nicely into these hands. It's no issue. Like some of the other weapons are a little bit harder to get into, but this one's fine. There you go. There he's dual wielding his sword, and well, not dual wielding. He's got both arms holding. And actually, you might want to just take these off so you don't risk breaking them. But there you go. So final thoughts wise, I think this is an excellent release by Bandai. There are some positives and negatives, and I want to talk about those. But overall, I think this is a really cool figure. This is definitely one of my grails. So I might be a little biased just because I've always wanted one of these Voltrons. I never had one as a kid. I did have a friend who collected Voltron, and he had all of them. And I never really got to play with this one, especially the full-size one. But now that I have it in hand, it really is fun. There are definitely some issues. So one of the issues that I have is the wheels on the bottom of these feet. Although they're pushed in, they still tend to make him roll around like roller skates. And unfortunately, that makes him unstable. Because these legs are so heavy and because there's so much die cast in this figure, it causes a stability issue. And I wish they would have had some way to, I don't know, lock the wheels so they don't roll, right? Because the rubber would have provided a nice friction so that he wouldn't slip, right? But because they're wheels and they roll, that actually makes it even more slippery than had we had no wheels at all. So you could have actually just had wheels that didn't roll or wheels that locked. So I'm not sure yet if I want to do this, but I may put some rubber or something to give this a little grip, because you're never going to look at the bottom of the car, right? And you have enough clearance with the tires down. So I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but we'll see. Other than that, one other little gripe of mine is the arms, especially the elbow. You don't get a lot of articulation. You get 2 clicks on that upper elbow and then 1 click on the lower elbow. So you don't get the full range there. And you end up not be able to make a full bicep curl, which is okay. And I guess maybe for this figure, people would argue that you don't need it. But I just feel like at this price point, this is $350. I think now it's probably going for $400, $450. At this price point, you really need to have the best articulation, right? You've got to have industry leading. Otherwise, what's the money going towards? Other than those things, amazing release. I think they did a great job. The level of quality and detail on these guys is awesome. The amount of paint and die cast and translucent pieces and just details overall is truly impressive. I was looking at this and, I don't really have a big connection to the character. To me, he actually kind of looks a little bit like a robot clown. That's sort of what he, the colors and everything. But I've always loved the look of this robot. So having it in hand really feels good. I do wish there was a way to stabilize the legs, but that's really the only thing that's holding me back from giving this a 10 out of 10. So do I recommend it? It depends. If you have love for this character, then you probably want this, because this is the definitive version of Vehicle Voltron or Dairugger. If you're not a big fan of this character, I don't know if you want to shell out $350, $400 for this guy. It might not be worth it to you. It is a sort of transforming figure, but it's not the same as a Transformer or as a third party or as fans toys. So you're not going to get that feel of, wow, what a smooth and fun transformation. It's just things kind of attaching to each other. So it's not really meant for that. It's not really a transformer. It's more of a vehicles that combine into a robot. But I love it. I would definitely recommend it if you like this character. That's really it for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.